And most people stop at 12 reps because their program says 12 reps, not because they can't do 13. Everyone's counting reps, but hardly anyone is actually training hard enough. The rep range is just a guide, it's not a ceiling. My name is Kathan, I'm an online fitness coach and a PT, and I'm here to tell you about training hard. So there's benefits and withdrawals for rep counting. And what I want to start with is the benefits. I'm not going to deny there's benefits to rep counting. And some benefits are that you know you're in a optimal rep range. Sometimes if you don't count, you could do too little reps. Maybe you do too much. Maybe you don't reach what you did last time. So you don't actually make progress because your mental blockage of effort output is lower on that particular day, and you don't push forward because you don't count. So you don't know if you're doing more or less than previously. So not counting your reps can result in a lack of progress because obviously there's no tangible way of tracking if you don't count your reps. And another thing is it gives you mental security. You know what you're doing, and it helps the confidence to know exactly what you're doing. But that's about it where the rep counting ends, because most of the time, 95% of the time at least, that I see from people in the gym is that they set themselves, let's say 10 reps, maybe 12 reps, and they do that many reps and they just stop. And I'm like, I mean, keep going. Well, like, no, my program says I'm doing 10 reps. My program says I'm doing 12 reps. I'm like, yeah, lost your program. You're not gonna make progress with that intensity you just trained at. You just stopped with like 5 reps in the tank. Like, how do you expect to make good results if you don't even train hard? Like, a good program will do nothing to you if you don't train hard. It really won't. So don't treat rep counting as a finish line. I was on a call with a client yesterday and we discussed this in terms of me helping her train hard. And one of the things, how I described it to her, was that instead of giving a number to hit, rather go till absolute failure and then note how many reps that was. Don't make a target to, I'm going to do this many. Rather go to failure and say, I did this many. Make it a past tense thing. Rep counting should be in the past. Either that, or next strategy is to set the amount of reps you need to do way higher than you know you're physically capable of, and saying that you have to do that many reps. Then, because you are physically incapable of it, you wouldn't actually reach it. Or you'll figure out that you're so much stronger than you actually are, and then you break your mental barriers in terms of how hard you can push, and you do actually reach that. Or you don't. Then you're trained to failure because you reach your maximum, which wasn't quite where you set it. Those are my 2 strategies for training hard, making sure that I train to failure and not rep count. So don't use rep counting as a ceiling. Whatever you do, use it as a guide, use it as a way of tracking progress. Don't use it as a have to or a limit. And what does training to failure actually mean? Training to failure doesn't mean the last rep is difficult. It means that the last one is genuinely impossible. That you can't actually lift it because you failed to actually do it. True training to failure is not, I've used too much energy and I'm getting tired, I'm stopping, or it hurts a little bit. Or in the muscle at least. If it hurts in the joint, you should probably stop. But if it hurts your muscles, then you just keep going because it doesn't matter. You haven't failed yet. Training to failure means that you're physically incapable of training to failure means that you're physically incapable of summoning the power to actually lift that given weight. So as long as you're still physically capable of lifting the weight during the set, you haven't reached failure yet. And yes, you don't have to train to failure to make gains, to make progress in the gym. Strength progress, muscle gain progress, fat loss progress, whatever your goal is. You don't have to, but it's the most optimal. And the reason I say it's the most optimal is because if you train to failure, your body realizes that you're unable to do this thing, that it is unable of doing this thing that you want to do. And it knows that you're going to do it anyway because of your consistency in working out. So your body's going to be like, okay, I need to build the muscle so it makes this thing easier to do. So if something you do is really hard, then your body's going to try and make it easier, because that's the whole, your body's way of adapting is just trying to make things easier. So if you train extremely hard, your body's going to gain a lot of muscle to try and make that hard thing easier. And then progressive overload obviously just always sets that bar to as hard as it was before, but because you're stronger, you have to put it up. So your body keeps trying to catch up. That's the whole point of this. And rep range guide, just to go over very quickly, because I did discuss it in my last video, anything under 6 reps is very much strength focused and not particularly optimal for muscle gaining, size-wise, like hypertrophy gains. And obviously if you go over 12, the strength gains are much less prevalent. Hypertrophy gains still there, as long as you don't go too high. But the 6 to 12 rep range is, I would say, the most bang for your buck when it comes to reps. You're hitting that bit of strength range. You're hitting an optimal hypertrophy range. And also, it's not too many reps that you fail because of endurance problems. If you stick to the 6 to 12 rep range, you will almost never go to failure from your lung capacity or you've run out of air. It'll be because your muscles are physically incapable of contracting such a weight and moving such a weight. But if you go too high of reps, you may fail because you're out of breath and you physically need to stop because you need to take a breath. And that's unoptimal, because now you're not training to muscular failure, you're training to lung failure, cardiovascular failure, you know what I mean? And that's all cool if that's your goal. But if your goal in the gym is to try and gain muscle, lose fat, if you're trying to transform your body, that's the wrong goal here. What you want to optimally do is hit between the 6 to 12 rep range. In other words, pick a weight that you can do 8 reps with and do it, train to failure, and use that same weight every single time you train that exercise. And eventually, if you train to failure, the reps will kind of go up and up and up, because you're not limiting yourself to a rep range because you're training to failure. And eventually you'll hit 12 reps. When you hit 12 reps, next workout, you go one set higher. For an example, if you're using cables, you put the pin one slot down, so it's an extra 2.5 kilograms, or you take the next dumbbell set up. Then your reps will drop because the weight is higher. Then eventually you'll climb the ladder like that, like so. Now, why does training intensity matter more for program? Well, 2 people doing the exact same workout program can have very different results for one reason: training intensity. The reason your muscles grow, like I said already, is because your body is trying to make what it is doing easier. And if what you are doing is already easy, then it doesn't need to change anything. And if what you are doing is extremely strenuous and difficult, then it has to change a lot. Group 1, training easy, doesn't have to change anything. Group 2, training very hard, has to train a lot. This group is going to see a lot of gain and a lot of progress with what they do. Group 1 isn't going to see anything because there's no reason for their body to change. So some practical takeaways for this video is: stop watching the rep counter, watch your effort level, train to failure, not to a number, and then note the number down afterwards, or set a number too high and then just try and reach it anyway, and you'll end up going to failure. Every time you finish a set, ask yourself, could I have done more? And if it's a yes, then do more next time. And if it's a no, then yay, replicate that next time. Lastly, when you reach 12 reps on an exercise, shift the weight up and keep doing that, and you'll gain progress very quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic rest of your day, and hopefully I'll see you on another video next week.